viewers, welcome back to Born IT System, and this is your host here, Born, and today we're going to be looking at JavaScript objects on lesson 1, and then we're going to have a lesson 2 for application where we can use the JavaScript objects. So let's get started here. JavaScript objects, introduction and creating sample objects. And objects in JavaScript are very similar to arrays as we have done before in other lessons, but objects use string instead of numbers to access the different elements, and the strings are called the keys or properties, and the elements they point to are called values. Together these pieces of information are called key value pairs. While arrays are mostly used to represent lists of multiple things, objects are often used to present single things with multiple characteristics or attributes. For example, in the last array lesson, we made several arrays that listed different items, but what if we wanted to store different pieces of information about those items? An example, creating an object here will be, we had before an array of red, blue, and yellow colors, but now when you add in an objects or objects, we can take a single color blue and give some characteristics about it. So we might have an ID of that color in our list. Then we have a psychology, which is just what does it represent to the world, or what's the meaning of color blue. Might represent the sky and the sea. Then the other thing you might look at when you try to print an object or console it in JavaScript, you're gonna get object is the string. This basically means is the string representation of a JavaScript object data type. Is not an error. So let's see here when we do it. When we print, you can see here we are saying creating objects, and then we have square bracket object square bracket. It's not an error, but it just represents representation of a JavaScript object data type. The next thing we're gonna look at this is the ID here and the psychology here are basically called key or properties. And then on number 2, the sky and the sea, which is the meaning here, is basically are called the values of each respective key or property. So the ID is for 2, psychology is for the sky and the sea. Keys can be used with or without quotes. As you can see here, you can put this one in quote, or you can leave it alone. It's okay. But when you are writing a JSON file and you have objects inside, you have to have the keys or property enclosed in the double quotes. And if we run this, should not get an error, but our previous output that we had before. The next thing we are looking at, accessing values in objects. Access values in objects using square bracket, just like with arrays. The only difference is that instead of index a number, you use the key as the string. So for example here, if I would console that, I would come up with that, and just let's give it some name here so we know where we are. So if we do that, it should give us I should see the word. What did we get here? I was looking for the word blue. This is the one, and I will clear. Please make sure to clear your previous errors, your previous output, because it might cause you confusion in the output if they start piling up. So now I cleared. You can see there we have blue. which is just giving us the IDs number 2. The next thing we're gonna look is adding values to objects. An empty object is like an empty array, uses curly brackets instead of square brackets. So in object we use curly brackets, and in array we use the square brackets. So here we have constant red equals to an empty curly brackets, and then adding items using the square. You can do that. I just do red dot id number 1, then red dot the psychology start, or add items using a dot notation, which is this here. Then you can console here. So if we do this, I will bring this one here, this one here, and just show the difference between the dot notation and the square brackets. So now let's comment out this one, and I'll tag all that, and let me do that. Okay, so here you can see, let's print out and see what's coming out. I will clear my console and print again, and you can see adding values, you get that. And then the same thing you can do for that, and let's have this uncommented, and let's run, and let's clear our console and see if we are getting the same thing. You can see here adding values to objects. Then the next thing we can have is combining arrays and objects, whereby now you have an array, and an array can have multiple objects inside, and you can see there, that's how we combine the arrays and objects. The next thing we're gonna see, get all the information about red. Use the same technique by entering the index from arrays. So here we're gonna get the ID, name, and psychology. So to access it, you use colors, and then you have the in the array, because this is a single array, so you have index 0, and then you get your ID of the color you are looking for at the index of that. So if you console that, that should give you the, I'll do that clear, and let me not select. So yeah, if you select, and then the code will try to run your selection. That's why we are getting an error here. So you can see at index 0 in our array, so this whole object represent an index in our array here, and this index for color red is at index 0. Then you have index 2, index 1. The same thing, we had an array, an example. This red here is at index 0, 2, index 0, 1, and 2, but the values are 1. You have 3 properties, but indexes are from 0. You read from 0 going onwards, and then you're gonna have, so here we have our array object inside an array at index 0. That's why we are doing colors, then 0, then you access the ID of it. Again, red at index, our object at index 0, and we do access the name. If we do add for index 1, So here we get 1 1 1. Now this one should give us for color blue, so I'm gonna put here separator. I'm gonna just clear it. Now you can see we have 1 red, danger and a warning, and for 2, which is blue, we have number 2, and we have blue and the sky and the sea. And viewers, that's all for today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content, and also don't forget to smash the like button to send out the word to other people who might be interested in this channel, and make sure to speak out the word so that we may get more views and create more content. And also there's a link to the GitHub page for this code, and a donation link to the PayPal to help this channel grow up.